Yesterday, I got this comment on one of my older videos that was talking about proceed with caution. The trad wife to poverty pipeline is real. And this fleshed out comment from this person named Crystal, it was pretty spot on. And I appreciate her taking the time to write this out. She says, being a stay at home mom allowed me to take care of my children, help take care of my nieces so that my sister could work her butt off as a single mother to struggle to support her three kids without the ridiculous cost of childcare, and took care of my completely disabled mother physically by taking her to all her doctor's appointments and doing all of her shopping and errands. I have not had a paying job in 17 years since I became pregnant with our first child. I can say with full experience and authority that being a stay at home mother is so much work, so much more work than a full time job. And there is no clocking out or sick days. I used to work two full time jobs when I was younger by choice because I didn't want my sick and disabled mother to feel the struggle even more trying to take care of me when she was sick. And I wanted to be able to help her when she needed it. Even two full-time jobs does not come close to the amount of work and exhaustion of being a stay-at-home mom. So it blows my mind how women are expected to be thankful and grateful to a man for working a job, which is the bare minimum of what you're supposed to be doing just as an adult, regardless of whether or not there is a wife and children in the picture. Men don't have to work any harder than they would already have to. They just have to share their earnings with their families. Women have to sacrifice all their time, energy, and self in service of everyone else in the home and don't get paid a dime for it. If men think it is such a just and fair way to split the responsibilities of a marriage with children, then they should try a few years of staying home with the little ones and let the wives go put in the 40 hours, then come home acting as if they deserve to just relax because they worked all day while he continues to take care of the household. I would imagine that vasectomies before having children would skyrocket if that were the case. I was fortunate to be able to stay home with my babies and take care of my sick mother, but I also signed a prenup that my daily vehicle belongs to me. He is obligated to keep a certain amount of money in our joint account that I have full access to, and I will get a divorce settlement that he has to pay within a year based on how many years we have been married. It's currently up to around $150,000, which will not go far these days, but it is a start so that I would be able to keep my head above water if I ever chose to leave. My husband even has $1 million life insurance policy in case anything happens to him so that he knows that we would be taken care of because he lost his father days after his 18th birthday and his mother a few days later. I signed the prenup because I would never feel entitled to take his inheritance from losing his parents. But the money he makes in his career that he has due to being able to focus on college while I took care of our children is fair game. And I will do whatever it takes to make sure our children are taken care of as he would. That said, being a good father does not always translate into being a good husband, and I've never been shy to tell him that I do not take orders or submit to any man, and took care of myself before him and can do so after him. But our babies will be taken care of, even if it takes the inheritance from the grandparents they never got to meet to make it happen. Now, this woman, it sounds like she is not going to be thrown into poverty, which is great. She works hard. She says, I worked hard. And she knows that she has worked harder being a stay at home mom than she did, working two full time jobs. So this is work. And so people that take it lightly and make it seem like it's just such a privilege to be able to do that, they clearly have not been on call all day from sunup to sundown and had every last bit of their energy wringed out of them. Now, she's set because her husband actually has money, but there are some people that are living on a wing and a prayer so that if he were to get hurt, unexpectedly pass away, or just leave, there have been so many stories of women just thrown into poverty. Just leaving my homegirl, Jenny, who now actually has a Substack. Jenny has a Substack. She's on both TikTok and YouTube, but she has a Substack as well. So she's talked extensively about the consequences or her life as a cautionary tale because her husband left her and her 5 children, just divorced her, left her for another woman, cut off her money, and basically left them to figure out how to eat how to survive because he had the keys to do so because she was solely dependent on him. Anyways, I want to get into some of this blog post that she recently put out. What happens when the breeders rebel? Okay. The byline says, sterility by choice is on the horizon. She says, in mid-July of 2009, my last of 5 children would be born. I had been a Mormon trad wife at that point for 14 long, exhausting years and was feeling overwhelmed at my new reality of raising 5 kids under the age of 11. My marriage was at times brutally violent, sometimes simply mundane, but always very, very gender enforcing. As the woman, it was my God appointed role to nurture the children and keep the home fire stoked, while my husband Jake's duties were to provide and protect. This system left me single handedly in charge of the upkeep, beautification, and day to day cleaning of our massive $1 million home and the family nestled inside. In fact, I was also responsible for Jake, acting as a personal assistant in the business, washing and folding his laundry, often shopping for his wardrobe, keeping his calendar and planning, shopping, and preparing his meals. The life of a Mesa, Arizona country club church wife was both glorious and brutal. I was beginning to crack ever so slightly under the pressure. From the time of my engagement to Jake, when I was personally instructed by my Mormon priesthood leader that God should be my only birth control and my family planning should be on his timing, not mine, I had left my fertility almost entirely in God's hands. But as the birth of this 5th child approached, I began to have thoughts about preventing more births, and I eventually decided to ask my doctor to perform a tubal ligation. It felt deeply congruous to selectively end my childbearing era. It enabled me to control and give shape to my future in ways that my marriage of unplanned pregnancies had not allowed. And I was thrilled to bring it up at my next OBGYN appointment. My doctor said it was a good idea, but that she didn't think the nuns would approve. At the time, I was part of an insurance co op that was run by a Catholic medical group, and birth control matters were strictly controlled. My doctor submitted paperwork to the nuns, and my tubal ligation was rejected because I was too young, despite the 5 children a group of nuns deemed my womb too viable to sterilize. I had baby number 5 without getting my tubes tied afterwards and had a terrifying sensation of being a breeder without personal autonomy. The rejection of my request for reproductive control was a devastating disappointment. I didn't need to worry, though that fact doesn't negate the wrongness of forced fertility. Within 2 years, an ovarian tumor would almost end my life and force a complete hysterectomy, ending my childbearing days. Losing my uterus was one of the most singularly freeing experiences I've ever had in my 50 years of life. I no longer had a monthly cycle, which meant no more tampon leaks on my white skinny jeans, no more crippling cramps and heating pads, no more red Sharpie dots on the fridge calendar. X was then just a personal pleasure tool, no more drawers full of condoms and spermicidal creams, no more watching the fridge calendar like a hawk to make sure I wasn't a day late with my period. I boxed up all the maternity and baby clothes and donated them to a women's group, sold the crib and stroller, threw away the breast pump. And as I purged the physical items, I also experienced an internal cleansing. Knowing that my future resources wouldn't be diverted to another pregnancy, birth, and newborn whose care I would be responsible for decades to come, I was able to plan just a wee bit of my own future, a future that suddenly seemed to contain the possibility of a short but previously unattainable climb up Maslow's pyramid. Perhaps if I wasn't pregnant and nursing a baby and worried all day, every day about basic survival items for small children, I could actually achieve something in life. Maybe I could discover some hidden potential, purpose, creativity. Maybe I could advance and claim a life for myself instead of being at the beck and call of my kiddos and my mate. Now, she says to keep reading, so you have to sign up and subscribe to finish reading. But the important thing here is it clicked in her head that she was more than just an incubator. And I think that women are waking up to the fact that we are simply more than just an incubator/wife appliance. The collective shift is here. And I do want you to join the conversation. Let me know what you think about these two. Don't forget to